manifested where people need help in dealing with issues they probably needed help for all their lives, but never really faced them before.
Mm-hmm. And then so you have seen probably some of the relationships kind of turning south because they were, grouped together for indefinite times, and then that puts strain on their relationship. So whatever was the exhaust mechanism before they were going out, it was gone. Okay.
Yeah, and they're out partying, self-medicating with liquor and what have you. They're having a good full life, but it's covered over the core issues that really have been shading their life and their behavior. And with the COVID, now those things have come to the forefront because COVID's like pouring gas on those issues. And so, it all goes back to core issues, which there's really 5 fears ultimately that people have in their lives that were created when they were very young, before they became adults. Because age 1 through 7, we have what's called the uncritical acceptance of an idea. We don't have a way of throwing away the ideas we don't accept. So anything that goes in our mind when we're children affects and informs our behavior as an adult. And the basic 5 fears that I come down to generally with people are criticism, sickness and aging, poverty, death, and the core main one, feeling unloved or unlovable, rejection and feeling unlovable. So those are things that happen when we're young. For instance, if you're driving in a car, you may be a little child in the back and you're singing to the radio in the car and you're happy. And one of your parents or guardians turns around and says, "Can you cut that out? I don't want to hear that noise anymore." Well, when they do that, you may feel for the rest of your life, I can't go out. I can't be in public. I can't be outgoing. Or it may just be as simply that you just don't feel you can sing. Whatever it is, it affects you. That stays in your subconscious like a broken record. And because of that, it continues to affect you throughout your life. What hypnosis does, which is so wonderful, it helps us to step aside the critical factor of the conscious part of your mind so that we can access that and help you find your own solutions to those issues. And in doing so, live a more positive and productive life.
And that is so true, that there is post-traumatic stress or even trauma, or even, the mind is amazing that it has, it has healing power, tremendous healing power, but you need to, first of all, know its extent. And it's like, I tell everybody, it's like you see the external bruising because you can see the colors and so forth. The internal to your mind, you can't, except, if you have a professional like yourself and who knows what you are going through. And people most of time will just kind of go into this cocoon of sadness, and then they will not come out. And then they don't feel, they lose touch with the reality or when they had the good days. And so they take this as new normal, being with right after. So, but I think that is sad because the brain cannot tell you itself you are sad.
Right.
So there's no meter to gauge you that your gas fuel is empty, or your there's nothing to tell that. But if we educate and if we say, okay, what were you doing before, or what were you enjoying? Do you enjoy any? No. Are you sleeping? No, much. Yeah, some, or sleeping a lot. Either way. I had a guest not too long ago, and they said when the COVID hit, he was sitting on the couch for hours and hours, not even changing his clothes, not taking showers.
Right.
And that is because we are sad. We get into this psychomotor retardation mode where we don't want to move or be touched or even bothered, right, for hours.
Correct. Yeah.
And so this is, I think, mind is beautiful as everything, but it needs help, And once you get it, once you kind of push it out, then you got it. You say, oh,
right.
Yes, that's exactly what, and I think that's exactly what is supposed to happen.
Well, and Dr. Moby, the beauty of hypnotherapy is that it allows the person to find their own solutions. That's the kind of the difference with our friends that are psychologists and psychiatrists who are incredibly talented and awesome. But with hypnotherapy, we don't have a roadmap. So what it does, it gives you the ability the person, the client, to be able to go into your own mind, explore your own mind, and then in turn find your own solutions, which is really amazing and really wonderful, because that's what makes hypnotherapy unique in its own way.
And so tell me how people go and book sessions on your website. Tell us the process.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, all of them are done by Zoom. And I want to say that's one good thing that's come from this pandemic, because I actually love doing my sessions on Zoom. My mentor, Gil Boyne, who was one of the legendary lay hypnotists, he used to do phone sessions. And I never believed him. I said, how can you do a hypnotherapy phone session? But the truth is, now that I'm doing Zoom, it's really amazing, because people feel safe and secure in their home. So all those problems that people worrying about what's going to happen with the hypnotist or in the hypnotist's office are all gone. So it's really a positive to do the Zoom sessions. But my Zoom sessions are available. The COVIDnosis hypnotherapy sessions are available. You can contact me at COVIDnosis, COVIDnosis.weebly, WEEBLY.com, or just email me at hypnomesmer@yahoo.com. And if you do that, I will, if the first 10 people that listen to your show today put your name in the subject and request one, I will send them a free audio relaxation download.
And I see that you also do a lot of concierge medicine.
Right, that's at the Unger Medical Center here in Rancho Cucamonga, California. His concierge patients, Dr. Unger believes, and by the way, he's one of the top diabetes doctors in the country. I know you've heard of Ozempic. He helped to bring that to market. He's a very well-known diabetes doctor, but he's a general practitioner also. But he believes in alternate therapies, so alternate modalities of treatment. So he uses acupuncture, acupressure, hypnotherapy, because he prefers not to use as much medicine as he can avoid for his patients.
Okay, very nice, very nice. And you said that he does a lot of hypnosis.
I do.
Oh, you do. Okay.
Yeah, he's a general, practitioner.
Is a general. And then you have your website, covidnosis.weebly.com, right?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And so if people book the session, how many minutes your session lasts average?
Okay. Well, if they do the COVIDnosis, I can do one-off sessions, obviously, too. But if they do the COVIDnosis program, the first one is 30 minutes where I visit with them and get to know them like you and I are talking now. That's my way of knowing how to work with them. And then we do 3 other further sessions. They're 1 hour apiece each. And at the end of each session, I email them an audio download to help them reinforce learning self-hypnosis, because it is self-hypnosis. I'm just teaching them, and it's a tool they're going to use for the rest of their lives to help them keep having a positive experience. So it'll be total 4 sessions. The first one, 30 minutes. The other 3 are hypnosis sessions. They're an hour apiece, and they're very effective. I've had great results.
Okay. And I see that you've been also aired on a lot of networks, NBC, CBS, all of them, right? So
yeah, in fact, just this morning, before I came to do your interview, I was doing a taping for Autopsy, The Last Hours Of, from the Reels channel. And it's a fascinating show. They have an excellent MD, Dr. Hunter, on there. And they go back and they do an autopsy of someone famous who has passed away. And they try to dissect it and find out what the real cause of their death was. So I do a lot of media and a lot of TV, yes.
Okay, great. Oh, I love that. So that's a great program. Yes, it's fascinating you shared that. And actually, a lot of my patients who come to me for sleep disorders, I tell them, they try to take some of the medications to help them sleep. And I say, the sleep you're going to get with medication is never original sleep. Okay. It's never real sleep. Okay. It's just help. Yeah, and help a little bit. But remember, the problem is if you read autopsy reports on all celebrities, and every single of them was trying to sleep more with medication or drugs or alcohol or all of the above.
Every one of them.
Yep. Every one of them. And then everyone reported same thing, that nothing happened before ever. Okay. Only one time happened something unexpected, and that was enough to cause the death.
Hmm.
So what does that say is that yes, there is no predictability, no reliability, because medications are medication. Once you put it in your mouth, it only knows whether it gets absorbed right away or never get absorbed, or it might get absorbed very fast or very toxic level, and depending on what you
And,
eat.
and and ultimately, it's a cover up. It's not a solution. It's short term solution, but it's not a long term solution. And as you say, with all these stars and personalities, they make it a long term quote solution, but in the end, it destroys them. And so, yes, it's great to have medications. They're important. They're critical in cases, but also learning how to teach your mind, restructure your mind in a positive way is the long term solution to sleep disorder.
And that's true. So as I say, and they asked me, where they can, and I said, well, best is, communicate with the nature, get positive energy, let your mind communicate, get this positive feedback from the nature, and it has amazing power to heal you. And then, if you fix your sleep, if you fix your mood disorder, and if, like you said, if you do hypnotherapy, or if you do relaxation technique, and then let your mind get benefit, you will be way better off than taking these medication for rest of your life.
Ultimately, that's true, yes. But as you mentioned, there is a place for medication on the
Yeah.
short term. But yeah, long term, the solution is to grab a hold of your mind and learn how to master your mind so that you can retrain yourself and be able to sleep naturally again. So yeah, that's so true.
Yes, sir. And then yes, there is a help cure for help. If we get a bruise, or we get, yeah, we need a band-aid. Yes, of course. We
Of
need a
course.
band-aid, which is normal. We need a band-aid, and we need antibiotic, we need treatment, suture, whatever we need, bleeding wise. Yes, of course. But remember, still later on, there has to be, it's a shorter fix. So that is so true for all disorders. And then also ultimately comes down to lifestyle, and even the medications that people have on diabetes and so forth. You can be taking medication rest of your life, but if you don't change your ways, you actually do your lifestyle, then unfortunately you are set up for long-term customer of pharmaceutical industry and doctors. Myself.
It's true. It's so true. I had an issue, and they put me on a medication. They said, well, once you get on it, you'll never get off. I said, I will. And so ultimately, I was able to get, it was thyroid medication actually. And I really needed it. But I said, doctor, Jeff, my friend who's the doctor that I work with, I said, believe me, my mind's going to work on this. I'm going to get off it. Well, within about 4 months, my numbers went back again, and I got off the medication. It may have just been a fluke, but I always believe the mind controls the body. And if you focus in a certain way and use your ability of your mind, things are possible that people may not even imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is true. Mind can create miracles if you believe in it. But the first thing is you have to believe in it. So
yes.
and then you let your mind work that magic.
Absolutely.
And then it will happen. I mean, I've seen such amazing results with patients. Sometimes there were many times patients which I thought I lost them, and then we did CPR for 45 minutes. I thought it'll never come back.
Wow.
Next day, patient worked perfectly fine. Nothing ever happened. I said,
wow.
Hello. I said, what? I'm shocked. Oh, I said, well, I'm happy, but I lost hope for myself that, when you do that. And then, of course, on the flip side, we also had who probably heart stopped for only 30 seconds and never came back. So those are, the always, kind of outliers, but basic thing is mind has amazing capability. So
we're given these wonderful gifts when we're born. It's just that sometimes people that we look up to don't protect our gifts, and these gifts are within us. They're already part of our being. It's just we lose touch with them because of getting older, and also because parents or people don't protect those gifts. But if we can regain those gifts, anything's possible. And so that's the goal that I proceed with people. I try to help them regain the gifts that are natural to us, that are within us, that we've always had, but we've just lost touch with.
And that's so true. Well, thank you for coming to our show. I can't believe we reached the end already, 30 minutes. So, okay, well, thank you. And check his website. And it's great. And good thing is you don't need to be taking medications. He'll find a way to help your situation. And he's very well respected, experienced, and so check him out. And thank you once again coming second time. Yeah.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. And thank you. And thanks to your listeners for spending time listening to me today as well. And I appreciate all that you do, because medical professionals, they have a hard job right now. So God bless you. And thanks so much.
Take care. Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming with us on a new series that is about people and life. And this is Mr. Ralph Ave with me in California, USA. And welcome, Ralph, to Singapore. Today is the 3rd of September 2021. It's 7:25 p.m. here. Welcome to warm, sunny, humid Singapore. It's a beautiful evening here. The sun is setting, and you know what? We're still in the pandemic, but we are opening up the economy. The borders are going to be open. Welcome to Singapore, with or without COVID-19. Life is going to go on. We have to move on. We have to win the battle. And who is the best person to talk about winning the battle? And that's the retired Chief Master Sergeant of the United States Air Force in America. And we're talking about Singapore audience here and Indo-Pacific audience and also American audience through Dr. Novi's lifestyle in the USA. You know, we don't know a lot about American adventurers, and we are seeing them in this tinted glass of wow, that are heroes of the world and that are heroes of the earth, because they are there to do the peacekeeping. And it's so important because in this part of the world, in South China Sea, unfortunately, Singapore is in the middle of the South China Sea. we're looking at things that are potentially unstable and could potentially tilt in different ways. But even without going into the politics that is beyond a lot of us, I just want to salute to our chief staff, Master Sergeant, Mr. Ralph Harvey there. People who actually keep the world in balance. And Singapore, if you know, we always have the military base in Singapore and around the region to keep the place in balance. Likewise, we've got a big base in the past in the Philippines, which is so important for a lot of us, so that the rest of the world, or this part of the world, can focus on economic development for the rest of the people. And we're talking about economic development because the world at peace makes good economic development, rather than a world that is at war all the time. So therefore, another humanitarian work from Mr. Ralph Harvey. And today, I'd like him to introduce himself to the new audience here in Asia, in Indo-Pacific, and also in America, as the authoritative voice for all things military. He's got an illustrious career in the military as the top 1% of Top Gun in America. And we're talking about a real Top Gun here. And excuse me, Mr. Tom Cruise, bye. So, Ralph, I'm so honored to have you on the show. And for the next couple of series, we're going to have him talk about himself as he develops his career in the military, and some of these stories that are real, and some of these stories that changed him and changed his life path in the military. Ralph, would you like to say hello to everyone to Singapore?
Hello, everyone.
Ralph, you are an author yourself, and you've written a book on the modest leader. Let's talk about your book. Where can we find it, and what's it about, the background of the book?
So it's on eJunkie, but right now I'm working on the website to get it on there. It's hard to remember the link because it's not a regular.
It's gonna be below.
Yeah, so we'll put it down below. But it's just about being a modest leader, leading harmoniously, putting your people in front. I'm not saying put them in front of bullets, but putting them in front to shine, and just helping them develop their skills and helping them build their confidence. But I've always been in the background.
Yeah, and Ralph, regarding your book, The Modest Leader, what oxymoron, right? In the context of, we're talking about American leadership in the world, and we're looking at a chief master sergeant there, the modest leader. What an oxymoron! There must be a lot of things we can take away from reading his book, and I'm very sure at the end of the book, it really justifies his word on the modest leader, his take on leadership from a different paradigm, from a different perspective, and you can get his book on the eJunkies. But without further ado, let's go into today's show with Ralph. Ralph, you've done an interview for my magazine, It's My Life, which is now launched as an e-book and e-magazine on Amazon Kindle, and you are being featured there. And ladies and gentlemen, you can go to Amazon and look for It's My Life, production by GDM Publications, and Ralph is actually featured there. And I asked him quite a lot of questions, but I would like him to retell some of these very important stories in his life who made him the man he is today. Some of these things are very important to us. Our turning points in our lives, things that made us change worldview, things that made us have a new kind of philosophy, take a new perspective at life. For myself, definitely a lot of things has happened to me. So these are some of the questions I like Ralph to take on. And Ralph, a couple of questions. In the interview on It's My Life magazine, I asked you, there were some moments in your life that have made you who you are, or there's some very unforgettable memories that kind of really get imprinted in your brain that you would probably relive again. And I want to ask you, as a young personnel who just got into the military, it must have been a kind of culture shock when you were before as a young person. I can imagine that. And now coming into a very regimental, highly disciplined environment, before you're just a young man going on with your life and trying things out. And then if you want, you say yes. If you don't like, you walk out. But in a military regime, as I see it, Singaporeans have got compulsory conscription. Every young man at the age of 18, Ralph, they got to go to the military. Either they're posted in the Navy, the police, the ground forces, combat forces, or the Air Force, where you are. It is conscription, compulsory. Likewise, a country in Switzerland and also in Taiwan, it's compulsory conscription for a young man of 18 years old. And tell me, that would be something that me as a woman and me as a lot of wives, a lot of daughters, a lot of girls who are trying to date a guy in the military, I think they have to know their men a little bit more. The changes of their lives, the changes in their worldviews as they develop, so that we can become better supporters of them. Am I right to say that, Bill?
Absolutely. You need the support, especially with the things that we go through. Some may have gone through worse than others, but you still need that support, because if that person's not good, then the mission's not good. So that support is very important, especially if they have troubles at home and they come to work with that mindset, especially dealing with munitions, bullets, explosives. We don't really want them around, because it's not safe for the other people around them. So yes, you're absolutely right about
My question for the ladies and gentlemen, we are so intrigued with this gentleman with us, who is doing his debut about his life to the podcast world, which I'm so honored to have him. And in my interview question, what were the 2 events, and if you could talk about the first event, that made you have this strong memory as a young military personnel who actually got into the military world, and the kind of juxtaposition of culture, the kind of culture shock that you've got? Tell us what was that?
So I joined at 21, and before that I had a lot of freedoms. And when I was young, like I mentioned before, I lost my father at 9 years old, so I never really had a father figure, someone yelling at me. I was never really into sports where coaches would yell at you. And when I went to basic training, it was a culture shock. I froze. It was weird, because we went on the bus and we go into this little room because we were waiting for our instructors, and the staff sergeant there just talking to us calmly, like, just get along, work together, and you'll be fine. I'm like, this is basic? And then just out of the blue, the door slams open, bang, and you start hearing screaming, get out of the room, get out of the room. So you start lining up, everybody's just hustling. All you hear is like, and everybody just, what's going on? And right from the very start, they will let you know that they are in charge, and you no longer own your. You no longer own your life. It was, and I was wide-eyed, and it was just a shock to me, because at 21 I thought, I'm an adult, this and that. But no, they will make you feel like you were 5 years old again, you know. So, but yeah, that was one of the culture shocks for me, because I never really had that kind of discipline where people would like scream and yell, be in your face. And then again, I'm of small stature, so I was, you know, the little boy. Back then, they could call you whatever they want, you know, without getting in trouble, and you just take it. Everybody just knew it was part of basic training. Not like how it is now. It's a little, I think it's a little softer now, but back when I was in 1999, yeah, it was a lot meaner than I believe what it is now. So
Wow. Yeah. Tell us, when you say they were a lot meaner, what do you mean by mean? Can you give us some examples?
oh, just when I had to open, you know, I opened the door and my instructor said, "What's wrong with you, little boy?" And you know, I'm like, whoa. and I remember one time I was sleeping in the bunk. I had a dream that I was back home, so I thought everything was okay. Like, oh, okay, I'm back home. Now the instructor lifted up my bed and I fell out my bed. I'm like, oh, I'm still at basic. So that's another, like, I don't know if they can do that anymore, but you know, and the way they talk to us was, you know, people will consider it now very insulting, but back then it was just part of basic training. It was just, you know, to thicken your skin up, to make us, you know, they're trying to build us as one, to work as a team. So they break us down, everybody down, to the point where they feel like, okay, now we can develop you as airmen, you know, as military members. So they'll start training you basic stuff like marching, saluting.
Tell us about the punishments.
Oh gosh. Yes.
I want to kind of juxtapose what we have in Singapore.
Yeah, so I know one time this big Samoan guy, just attitude problem, and he came in shorts, had long hair, you know, and Violet, he just had an attitude, and these instructors just right in his face the whole time, and he started crying. I've never seen big Samoan dude cry like that before. You know, growing up in Hawaii, they're like really tough and kind of sometimes mean looking. And I was like, wow, this guy made this guy cry. You know, this guy's a big Samoan guy, and because he just had an attitude problem. Another one is like when they're teasing other troops, right? And it's funny. You hear it because it's hilarious, and you're like trying to hold it in, because if you laugh, then you get in trouble because you're laughing.
So what kind of military punishment do they met out? Like fall down, do your push-ups, or what kind of it?
Oh, so for the Air Force, it was really more mental stress.
Oh, mental. Okay.
It wasn't really more like, I mean, there was physical stress, but I remember one time this one person couldn't do one push-up. I don't know how he got into basic. He couldn't do one push-up. So everybody else had to keep doing push-ups until this guy did one.
Oh, wow.
And everybody's just struggling, and, you know, and when he did his one push-up, I've never heard a guy scream like that before.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, like, if the guy couldn't do a push-up, why did he enroll in the military in the first place?
Yeah, I think back then it's because they were trying to get their numbers up. You know, it's not as strict as it is now.
Okay, it was not as strict. Okay.
Yeah, because back then a lot of people didn't really want to join the military. It was, some looked at it as a last decision effort for your career, you know. But a lot of people, like me, I wanted to serve, and all my friends were like, "Why are you doing that? That's like a, you know, that's like the last, what's that word?
Last resort.
Last resort. There you go." And I'm like, but you're part of something bigger.
Yes, of course.
You know, and you're part of a team, and the team is more important than yourself. Yeah. And I've grown up like that at some weird reason. You know, it was just my personality. So it fit for me. And a lot of my friends that were in the Navy, Army, Marines, they said, if you ever join the military, go Air Force. I'm like, okay. So because I've seen their living conditions. I've seen, Air Force does have a better quality of life because they do treat their people better.
Yeah, and a couple of questions. You also wrote that you were so thin-skinned, right? Because you came from a place whereby you were like your whole life as a civilian. I mean, we're talking about we're a civilian, right? We don't like something, we turn our backs, we walk out. But in the military, like what you say, you got a culture shock, and then people were screaming at you. Not only that, they are the big size guys, right? I mean, the big size Americans. We're talking about these big men. And did you feel intimidated? How long did it take? Because I do understand that you've got this culture shock. How long did it take for you to kind of normalize and accept that, like, hey, this is going to be my life? That's my thing. And also hey, did I make a wrong mistake when you got punished or something? I mean, tell us just two things that flash your mind.
Yeah, so the thin skin part, I remember I made a decision for people to wear their boots, because to wear their running shoes in their uniform, because there was times where we were allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And when I went down to see the instructor, and I know from the very start, he could tell I was very thin-skinned from the very start. Yeah. Because this guy was former Special Forces, so he was hard on everybody. And I rolled my eyes when he said, "What do you make them wear?" And I said, "Sir, I made them wear their rubber shoes because of what we had to go through today." And then when I rolled my eyes, he went like this, and then he backed off because he knew right then, like, I started getting thicker skin, so that's why he backed off.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize.
You're right, because rolling your eyes could mean like 100 disrespectful things you're talking about.
Yeah. But I guess at that point he realized that, okay, he got it. He's toughening up. He'll be all right, because before that I was just like, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. I was writing my name wrong. I mean, I was just all over the place. But no, he once he saw me do that, I'm like, oh no, here we go, because I rolled my eyes and he held himself back, and he didn't really say anything. He just said, "All right, go get the troops, get them ready for trial." I was like, "Yes, sir." So, and I was like, that was weird. I rolled my eyes, and people who roll their eyes get chewed out. They get, but he let me go. So
Wow.
At that point, I realized, okay, I'm adjusting to this, but I was still homesick. I was still missing my family, my friends. I didn't adjust to the military until tech school. So it was after basic training. So I was still struggling with that military life.
Because in Singapore, we've also got the basic training. We call the BMT, the basic military training, whereby this is about 3 months, and the guys are put into trenches, stay in the forest or the jungles. We don't have much of a jungle in Singapore. But they stay in there and they got to live in the trenches, they got to dig. And of course, like what you say, things kind of diluted itself along the timeline, because it kind of becomes easier for the future generations. Earlier on, it was like so tough. But these 3 months, right, a lot of guys, after they came out of it, because it's compulsory in Singapore, they become a different person when you get to meet them. Like my brother, who got in, and then when he got in, my mom has to wave goodbye, and we're kind of crying, trying to hold, because we know that number one, we can't run away, it's compulsory. Number two, it's been known to be like so tough on the boys, because before that they're like going in at 17 or 18, the young boy, young guy, still with their hair, but the first day they got shaven. And then, I do remember kind of like teary-eyed, my mom when my brother got off the car to say goodbye, but I'm just thinking, they're still in Singapore. Anyway, but in the minds of the people, this is a really tough time. We call it the BMT. Is that?
But I'd say it was a lot meaner. I would say that because now they're doing a one week course. They call it a warriors course, I believe now. So they do a 1 week of combat training. Because back when I was in it, we only did like maybe 3 or 4 days of combat training, and we had to do it was a hike that we had to have our rucksack on us, and I forgot, it was 18 miles maybe. We had to do that hike.
And also with a full pack, right? And how heavy is that pack?
It depends what you had in there. So I believe mine was about 60 to 70. So, and back then I was only
170 pounds.
Yeah, I was only 120 pounds back then.
Yeah, that was like half your weight.
Yeah, so it was a struggle, but you just have that fortitude. Like, I can't quit. I'm towards the end, because once you reach the end, you'll be called an airman. Once you reach that end, So in everybody's head, we're just trying to support each other. Like, keep going, keep pushing. And there's a lot of times you just want to like stop but if you stop, no, it's not going to be a good environment for you if you stop. So everybody just
going to be punished, right?
Yeah. So everybody just kept charging on, and we had to keep a distance. And so we had, the weak ones and the strong ones, and we just had to adjust our abilities to make sure we keep that distance, so to show that we can work as a team. But yeah, that was one of the harder parts of our basic training. And like I said, it was more like mental stress for the Air Force.
Mental stress.
Because what's the Air Force primary duties is taking care of the aircraft. If you're not detailed with your aircraft responsibilities, that can be catastrophic when it goes up in the air. So they look at it that way. They look at so that's why you always hear attention to detail. So if we had one thing wrong in our locker, just one small thing, they would wipe the whole locker away, and you have to restart again. Yeah, so it was that kind of stress. And we did our physical stuff, our push-ups, our sit-ups, our runs. We did all that, but it wasn't like drop down and give me 20. It was nothing
like in the movies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the movies is like the real, and that was in the movies is like it's quite divergent, right?
Yeah. So in the movies, there's some truth to it, because other branches did that. They call it I think the Army calls it getting smoked. Yeah. As they say, drop and give me 20, drop and give me 50. The Air Force side was more, you make a mistake, they'll just mess everything up, and then you got to redo it again. It just even one small thing, like a little string on your uniform, mess up the whole locker, and you got to start over again. So,
And so actually the philosophy behind that, I would think that it's all about really keeping everything intact and in line with the military, because when you are actually preparing that mindset and the perfectionism for war, am I right that you can't be out of line in a real war zone? Am I right that?
Oh, absolutely. Because if you can't load the gun correctly, why do I want to be next to you?
Yeah, exactly. So tell us, like, you took like your BMT those times, and then you realized that you lost control. As a young civilian person, now that you're inside the regime that you're in, you don't own your life anymore. Have you ever thought of like, what did I do to myself?
The very first day.
Why did I sign up for this? Did it ever occur to you that?
The very first day, they call it 0. Yeah. when we signed up, like I said, we went to this little office and we were waiting for instructors and like, oh, this is okay. They're talking to us calmly. And then our instructors come in and just start screaming. And
Wow.
it was just stress the whole day. And then towards the end of the night, the military instructor just really calmly said, I know a lot of you are thinking like, what did you sign up for?
Wow.
Well, yeah, so, and he was right. You know, I think half of us were like, what do we do?
What did we do? Why did we had a good life? Right? You had a good life. What did I do? From the fire to the oil. From the fire to the hot oil, you must be thinking. I've got a question for you. I mean, I'm enjoying this so much, but you know, due to the constraint of our time, this is always a trailer to the next episode with Ralph. You want to hear more from him, you have to tune in to the next episode. But you know, Ralph, before I let you go, I do want to ask you. You know, there's a show called A Few Good Men.
Okay,
By
yeah.
Tom Cruise, right? And there's this scene, right? This award-winning show. I mean, A Few Good Men is about Code Red. Right, maybe one of these, I still don't understand the show. After I'm watching it now again, after so many years, it's still, I mean, of course there are a few riveting scenes, right? You've got the court scene, isn't it?
Right.
If you watch the show.
Yeah.
You've got the court scene with Tom Cruise about the Code Red. And then it's riveting. I mean, we as an audience and we as women, we are not in the military sector. And neither have we experienced anything close to any of the men, either Singaporean men or yourself as a military personnel. A lot of us are nothing close to it. I mean, the only encounter we have is in the movies. Right? I hope that you can tell us a little bit about shows like this on Hollywood. How real are they? And then come back again in the next episode, ladies and gentlemen, and dissect the scene for us. Tell us about how real are Hollywood movies? Or how unreal are they?
Yeah, for the most part, they try to keep it as accurate as possible, but a lot of it is it does happen, but I think movies do it for dramatic effect. Like
Drama,
the Code Red is because the colonel had an issue with one of the troops, so he called the Code Red, meaning get rid of him.
Oh,
So he gave that command to those two people who were
getting rid of him means killing him.
Yeah. So they had it was like a
secret.
Yeah, so some units would have like a secret code talk type thing, So and in that movie, I guess they had their little bubble, and they had, when he said Code Red, because he had an issue with one of those troops. That's what he meant. So he ordered them to get rid of that person.
Oh wow. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, number one, you're killing one of your own.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's coming
and
from
in
your colonel.
peacetime, yeah. Okay, now I understand why Code Red is after watching the show many times, because no one is able to explain. You know what? This is a good show, ladies and gentlemen. We've got such a wonderful session with Mr. Ralph Ave there, and we'll ask him to dissect for me. I mean, I just want to know the truth. I mean, it's like, am I being lied by Tom Cruise? I mean, is he the true, I would say the real McCoy? Is he the true Top Gun, or is Mr. Ralph Ave here the true Top Gun? Ladies and gentlemen, I would urge for you to share this show, to tune in with me to Mr. Ralph Ave. His very riveting stories about, his time as a young recruit. And the first day when he got into the office, he and the rest of his compatriots were thinking, what did we do? I thought we had a good life. What did we sign up for? Nobody hold a gun to my head. What did I do? I believe these are some of the things that you could relieve again in your memory, but they're so real to you, right, Ralph?
Oh, they're very vivid. I still remember the first day I went to basic training. I still remember some of the trouble I got into. I still, it's not everything, but I remember points and pieces where I've had somebody 20 years later, because when we graduated basic training, my family couldn't come see me graduate because my mom was in Hawaii and I was in Texas. And my mom at that time couldn't come. And one of the family members said, "Where's your family?" And I said, "Well, they're in Hawaii. I'll just hang out here on the base." And they pretty much said, "Nope, you're our son today." So they took me under their wing, took me out. We got to go sightseeing after our graduate basic training. And then 20 years later, one of the guys I graduated with, he made the same rank too. He's also a chief master sergeant. And he got in touch with me. He said, "Are you Ralph Ave from the 331st flight?" Yeah, and I said, "Yeah." And I said, "What's this for?" He said, "Oh, don't worry, you don't owe me money. My family took you out during the graduation."
Wow.
And then it clicked. I remembered every detail of that day, how they took me in, how his dad said I was in finance or administration for 20 years, because he was in the Air Force too, so he kind of followed his dad's footsteps. And I'm still in touch with the mom, Ruth. I call her Mama Ruth. So yeah, it's a weird connection you have when you go through some of the things you go through with people. You will always have that connection with each other. And I'm so appreciative of them, because if they weren't there, I would have been stuck on base.
Yeah, and this is a time for you to say your tribute to. So, ladies and gentlemen, a wonderful session with Mr. Ralph Ave. He's sharing with us, I should say, some of his very vivid memories. And down the line, we're going to have a lot of gut-wrenching stories, as I'm going to ask him more and more. And this is just going to be the preview of what's going to come. And if you want to stick around, which you have to stick around to hear more real military stories, you have to be here. People and Life with Mr. Ralph Ave. Thank you, Mr. Ralph Ave, and would like to give you a big salute and also a round of applause. A civilian way. Thank you. Would you like to say goodbye for the next 10 seconds? Anything you would like to share?
Yeah, no, I appreciate anybody that's watching this episode. Thank you for staying tuned. Hopefully you continue to stay with us through this series. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Ralph. And from me to you, Singapore, a wonderful place, always open, always welcoming to foreigners, always opening and welcoming to the rest of the world. And I welcome you and your family to visit us very soon as the pandemic, I hope, that is coming to an end as we all crawl together to the end of the pandemic. Thank you, Ralph, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please join us again, People and Life with Mr. Ralph Ave, the Chief Master Sergeant of the United States Air Force. Thank you, sir.
दिया सोचा न था, खो गए सपनों में हम, देखा न था कभी हमने ये समा, ऐसा नशा तेरे प्यार ने दिया सोचा न था, खो गए सपनों में हम। ला 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 ला। आप लोग भी साथ साथ यस। ला 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 ला। दुनिया हमें अब जो कहे, दुनिया की रस्मों को तोड़ तोड़ चले, राहें हमें अब जो कहे, राहों की बाहों को छोड़ छोड़ चले। दुनिया हमें अब जो कहे, दुनिया की रस्मों को तोड़ तोड़ चले, राहें हमें अब जो कहे, राहों की बाहों को तोड़ तोड़ चले। दिखा न था कभी हमने ये समा, ऐसा नशा तेरे प्यार ने दिया सोचा न था, खो गए सपनों में हम, देखा न था कभी हमने ये समा, ऐसा नशा तेरे प्यार ने दिया सोचा न था, खो गए सपनों में हम। आप सबकी आवाज़ के साथ हमें तेरा प्यार मिला, तेरा हंसी लगे बार बार तेरा, हो तुझे दिल में छुपाएंगे, करना पड़ेगा इंतजार यार तेरा। जब से हमें तेरा प्यार मिला, तेरा हंसी लगे बार बार तेरा, हो तुझे दिल में छुपाएंगे, करना पड़ेगा इंतजार यार तेरा। दिखना था कभी हमने ये समा, ऐसा नशा तेरे प्यार ने दिया सोचा न था, खो गए सपनों में हम, देखा न था कभी हमने ये समा, ऐसा नशा तेरे प्यार ने दिया सोचा न था, खो गए सपनों में हम। ला 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 ला। आप लोग सब मिलके यस। La 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 la। एक और फिर यस सब मिल गए। La 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 Thank you. पाकिस्तान बहुत जोरदार आवाज में एक बार फिर सब मिलके पाकिस्तान। Thanks very much Farabari for giving me the opportunity to celebrate Pakistan Day in my own style. Thanks very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we are honored with great guest all the way from UK. Let's welcome Jay Williams.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. But thank you for coming to our show, sir. Tell us about yourself. What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm a mindset and performance coach, and I primarily work with business owners, entrepreneurs to help them really break through the stuff, sometimes referred to the mental blocks that are really holding them back from having the level of income, the level of impact, and the level of freedom that they really want from their business.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about when did you start this?
Yeah, so I've been coaching for about 3 years now. I used to be in the Air Force. I was in the Air Force for 9 years, and I decided I was going to start my own business, my own online business, but I never really knew what I wanted to do. I was just kind of like, oh, this looks good. This can make me money. This whole online business thing looks pretty cool. I can travel the world. I can sit on a beach with a laptop, and everybody's making it look really easy. So I'm going to give this a go. And I kind of got into what I'm doing now just through the process of trial and error and seeing what I enjoyed, because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. There's a saying, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I still didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up, even at the age of 27.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very nice, very nice. Also, tell me about this. What is the structure do you do? Like, do you do consults? Do you do how do people reach you?
Yeah, so I work with people all around the world just through Zoom and just through having a conversation, just live online like this. Mm-hmm. So we use lots of different things through our coaching. But one of the biggest tools I use as kind of like a foundation to everything I do is something called motivational maps. And this is where we really uncover the things that drive every single thing we do. So we make, I'm told it's around, I don't know who's measured this, by the way, around 50,000 decisions a day. Wow. And the things that are driving those decisions are the things that are deep inside of us. They're coming from our unconscious. And most people don't understand why they do what they do, which was certainly me. I had no idea when I left the Air Force just over 7 years ago, what was driving me. What did I really want? I kind of loosely knew what I wanted, but I really did not know why I decided to do the things I did. And so I really got into a place of understanding, okay, what's kind of the sat nav that's driving our life? And we refer to this particular tool, one of the many tools. I'm qualified in NLP as well, timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, but I use motivational maps as a founding structure to make sure we're on the right path with the very thing that's going to make us feel fulfilled. It's going to allow us to perform at the highest possible level. And it's really going to be the thing that makes us feel alive and happy in doing what we do through our business or the work that we actually do day to day.
Mm-hmm. So basically what you're saying is that, our decisions has a lot of things in which in our subconscious, which probably we might even not realize that, right? And then we need to study that and see why are we making that decision, whether it's the right or wrong decision, and then kind of think this will help us to understand our mind, how it's working, or how do we work. So is everybody different on that, how they make decisions, or is that pretty universal, some of those?
Yeah, so everybody's different. Everybody's different based on your upbringing, based on your personality, based on the modeling you experience growing up. See, when I talk about what motivates us, motivation is just energy, right? When we're motivated, we have energy, and that comes from somewhere. And when we are focusing on the things that make us feel good, these are emotional states, they call them values that are important to us, then we have more energy naturally. Now, everybody at some point in their life would have been experienced to something which made them feel a certain way. And when they experienced that emotion, they went, that's really, I really like that. It feels good. It gives me a massive amount of pleasure.
Yeah.
So what they tend to do is then make decisions that help them to create more of that in their lives. Now, with motivational maps, there are 9 different motivators that are really the drivers of our life. So I can happily give you a quick overview of them so people can see which ones are them. So the first motivator is something called Searcher. And just as you're listening, just see if which one jumps out at you that might be most similar to you. Searcher is all about deep meaning and purpose, making a difference in the world. These people like to belong to a like-minded community. You often find these people as coaches or in charities. These type of people just want to give. They want to give to the world. The meaning means different things to different people. It might be the types of people who are into humanitarian aid or saving the planet or helping animals. So that's the Searcher. The second one is Spirit. They're all about freedom, autonomy, flexibility. They don't like being micromanaged or told what to do. They're often independent and not very great as part of a team. You will find this a lot in entrepreneurs. The third one is the Creator. Creator is all about innovation, big vision, loves change, loves new things. Likes being on the cutting edge and hates routine, rigidity, anything like that. Then we have the Builder. The Builder is all about a higher than average lifestyle. These are often focused on money. They're about goals. They like to actually buy expensive things, and they're often misunderstood. They like to actually buy nice things because it's like represents something that they've created for themselves, not because they just want to show that stuff off. Then we have the Expert. The Expert is all about specializing. These people are hungry to learn all of the time. They want to either know about people or they want to gather information. Sometimes they're challenged because all they ever do is gather information and not actually implement any of what they're actually learning. Then we have the Director. The Director is all about often the CEO of a company. They're often the people who like to have power over people, but they don't always like that word, so they might use the word influence. They like to be the people in charge. They like to be the people making decisions. Then we have the next 3, which we call the relationship motivators. The first one is called the Friend. Now, the Friend is the type of person that in their work, one of the things they value is those deep relationships, those deep conversations. They like to make friends with people, and they know everything about their partners and their families. They go to work just so they can have these relationships. And you can probably start to see how these are suited to certain roles in an organization or even in a business. And then the next one is the Star. Star is the type of person that they love to be recognized. They need to be told they're doing a great job or well done all of the time. They're constantly seeking out like certificates, employee of the month, bonuses for doing a good job. They love being recognized. And then the final one is called the Defender. The Defender is all about safety, security. They love routine. They hate change. This type of person, if you're working with something like a creator who loves change, you can often get quite a lot of conflict there. Because if they're trying to work together, one's trying to change it and one's trying to keep it the same. So you can experience these types of conflicts. So those are the 9 motivators. And I'm interested, Dr. Moby, which one sounds similar to you? Which one do you kind of relate to if you were to?
Okay. Yeah. In the first category or in the second category you're asking?
So any of the 9, which one kind of jumps out and says, oh, that sounds very familiar to me? Or maybe there's a couple.
Yeah, there are probably a couple, I would say, So, I feel like, I have these goals and I do these things which you are mentioning. And then I'm not into a lot of recognition, but it's good to be recognized, right?
Sure.
So but not much into that, but yes, it's good. But I have done good things in terms of being motivated by, my own goals and kind of remain focused on those goals.
I'm guessing you like to learn too by all the books in
Yeah.
the background, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I do, and I just feed out of positive energy always, and that kind of keeps me going, because small successes to me brings the big success. So so I'm like that. Small successes keep on adding, and that kind of keeps motivating me. That's how I kind of keep going. So if positivity and keeps doing that, like you see in the background, I have 2 songs, and I'm not a professional singer by any means, but because I did that, it kind of motivated me to write more and more.
I'm curious, what is it about writing songs and singing songs that really excites you? Is it you just enjoy creating them, or do you enjoy sharing them with other people? I'm just curious.
Okay, well, it's actually both. So writing and performing that. So my first song was based on, it's called Unsung Heroes. And, I was working at the hospital, and I saw this lady working for so many days, and myself, I was very exhausted. So I needed motivation myself I was feeling kind of sad about all, COVID situation and everything. So I asked her, how do you keep yourself motivated and going? And she said, she'd been working nonstop for 30 days, So I said, oh my God, then people are doing more than what I was doing. So I felt really motivated by her work ethics and everything. So then I wrote that song in just 1 hour, the whole thing.
Oh wow!
So then, the second song was about cicadas' love, and it was, I don't know if you know about cicadas. They come every 17 years. So, and then they are programmed. They remain underground, and they just come above ground every 17 years. They mate, and then they produce offspring, and then they die. So that is kind of very unique. I say, wow, amazing. Nothing disturbs them. They are very focused. They just come every 17 years, perfect on timing. So I say, wow, that's very amazing. It's like very unique. So that really motivated me to write the second one. And we made a love song out of it, because I said, then, they come and they mate and they find these cicadas, they are singing actually a very loud song to attract their female partner. So the sound we are hearing is actually their love song. It's about 80-90 decibels, really very high pitched voice.
You're talking to my I'm a high expert on the motivators, so I'm very intrigued by this. I like to learn.
No, I can feel that. I can feel that, and I really appreciate that you're doing that exercise. So that kind of gets me going on that second, song. We personally, I think I get motivated by common people. So I look at basically common events. I look at everybody day to day. That's what those are all my heroes. People working around me, people working for me, with me. I just look at their level. Sometimes I'd like to get motivation, and we all have ups and downs, and we all get frustrated. It's normal, but how do you get out of that? That's important. And so for me, many times I feel that I can find their rhythm, or I can find their basis, how they are working. And many times I'm working 2 shifts, or two different jobs. And I asked my colleagues or NSR how many things you are doing, and they said they're doing 5-6 things. So wow, how do you do that? And that's kind of try to understand what they are going through. And so then to me it looks like my misery or my things are small.
Yeah.
I have very little things which I am worried about. So that gives me motivation. That's how I motivate myself. So
one thing I'd say about that, and this is the thing about motivation. So I'm inspired by different things. When I see things, it's inspirational to me. When we're talking about this motivation here, we're talking about, if you were to look at your life, there would be decisions you've made that have led you to do certain activities and create certain results for yourself. So the very fact that you're a doctor tells me something about you. It tells me, who is it you typically work with?
Who do I typically work with? You mean as a patient? Or
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I do sleep medicine. So my patients have sleep disorders.
Okay, got it. So this tells me, just by the nature of your lifestyle and what you do and the very fact that you do this show, that you're probably someone who cares about people, right? You care about making a difference in people's lives. So naturally, I can hear that you're probably got a high searcher. So if you are looking at, okay, how do I operate in what I call the sweet spot, which is my top 3 motivators? And when you do something like a motivational map, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes. You can see what are the 3 things that if you focused on them consistently, it would lead to more fulfillment, increased performance, and as a result, more success in those areas. So for you, clearly, you're a doctor. And at some point, you've aligned yourself with your unconscious motivators. You may or may not have known you do it, but it felt right. This is what I feel like doing. I want to be someone who helps people or makes a difference or has some kind of meaning through the work that I actually do, which tells me, and with motivational maps, context is everything. It tells me that you're probably, in your top 3, you probably have a high searcher, just given the small bit of information that you shared with me there about what you do. Looking at the background, you're probably a high expert as well, by the sounds of it. And I wouldn't know what your 3rd one is as yet, but I'd probably say creator is high up there as well, because you like to create music, create songs, and ultimately that supports you in sharing those with people and seeing people smile, I'm sure, when they hear your music, right? And they hear the words of your song. So you can start to see that it's not so much about, hey, I get up in the morning and I'm motivated. It's more about, how do I align myself to the things that I know will give, that I'm energized to do, that will give me more fulfillment. And you said it earlier, by focusing on those things, I then experience more motivation and more energy to do more of it. And when you were talking about the lady, I think you said, did you say 30 hours?
Yeah.
30 hours? She's
probably no, she was working from 30 days nonstop. Like
30 days, yeah.
30 days nonstop, no breaks. Every day she would show up, and she was cleaning the hospital because all her colleagues left, or they were afraid they might catch COVID, and a lot of people unfortunately called off sick or didn't show up or quit the job. And then there were few of these which were very brave souls, and they stayed and they did nonstop, no breaks.
I see now. Yeah. This is the point about motivation. Something was motivating her to do that, right? And I'd say that it was probably about something bigger than herself.
That's right.
She has a certain role in which she contributes in a way to a certain higher vision of why she's there. It's a bit like, you may have heard the he was a janitor or cleaner, but he knew it was about a larger picture, and his values was about, I'm creating this. I'm not just using a mop or cleaning the toilet. It's about something bigger than myself. And that's what I'd say would probably be the thing that's driving that individual to keep showing up for work every day, to actually support that larger vision. And there's a saying, people don't get out of bed in the morning because of their personality.
No, I mean, I completely agree. There was a larger or bigger motivator for her. But I was really impressed. I said, well, I'm a doctor, of course. I'm also doing a lot of shifts, and I get paid way better than she did.
Yeah.
But she's cleaning. She is cleaning these, and there's no way we would have worked if we didn't have a clean room to put patients in. Or this is amazing. So to me, it was very touchy. It was kind of, I got very emotional about that. So I said, you are a hero, and I'm sorry nobody ever said that, but you are a hero, and we should recognize that. So I wrote that song, and then she was in that video too. So I mean, those are. So I said, well, I appreciate you, and you will be famous all over. Everybody will watch you and appreciate what you do. So to me, it was, gratitude for that, for her, honoring her. So that's what I think I felt great about that. And kind of it gave me motivation too, that look, she's doing it she's a bigger person than, so we can all learn from her. So that's what motivated me. And so I said, everything else is side. She's the hero.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's how I think mine basically is. And also, I started all this with, of course, being doctor, I was doing that. But I had a difficult time myself with my health, and, I got sick. And then that's how I ended up doing lifestyle. And I got sick, and my cardiologist said, you have to lose weight and all that. I was very overweight. And so I said, you have to lose weight. And I said, oh, well, that's very hard because I love food. But, but for some strange reason, my wife always said, you need to lose weight and all that, but I never listened to her. For some reason, I don't know what happened. That moment, it just got me in that maybe I should look into it. Maybe I should look into that. So I just looked at it, and I said, okay, let me listen to dietitian. Let me see what she has to say. And then she said, but I said, sorry, I can't do that. It's very hard. I will follow your main principle. Let me figure that out my way. So, and that's that day, I never turned back. It was, so I said, okay, I'll keep losing weight. Every week I'll show up in your clinic, but I'm going to do my way. But we'll have and she said, that's very fascinating. I have never seen somebody like that who won't follow my instructions, but follow the principles. I said, okay, yes, deal is done. So I showed up every week, whole year, lost 100 pounds.
Wow.
So, and 4 years have passed by. So I said, so that motivated me to, of course, the biggest success was losing first 5-10 pounds. So those small successes then built into the larger. I shared it with my friends around me, colleagues, and workers, and they all lost weight. And then that's how my journey started. I felt great because I said, well, I never knew this is so simple. That you just have to be disciplined. You just have to follow the same routine, or pretty much similar. and focus on that and remain focused. So it's been 5th year now. Never ever gained weight.
Wow.
Healthy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I have motivated 4,000 or plus people lose weight.
Wow.
A lot of my patients to all different parts of the world. Of course, my parents, my family, friends, neighbors, everybody. So, but I think I felt that this could be done, and then that's how I ended up doing lifestyle show and my book, and now TV, and now connecting with you. Look at now
This is
connecting.
it's very interesting and fascinating. Again, when you bring this back to the motivation, the values, like we're driven by something, right? We're all driven by something, and it's not like we're all driven by similar things, but the priorities are different for different people. And I can see that you talked about it, that you helped 4,000 people. And again, I said that you're probably a high searcher, which you're sharing the things that you learn. You like, I go running around the lake every morning and then I do a video and I take my wisdom and the lessons that I've learned, very similar to you, because I'm a high searcher. And all I do is I share that wisdom with other people, and it impacts people's lives, right? Because and it feels good and it's fulfilling for us. And the things that make us feel fulfilled, the things that make us feel good, naturally we're going to want to do more of them. It's a bit like, I know this won't be you now, maybe it is. If you enjoyed eating a donut and it was pleasurable, you'd want to eat more donuts.
That's true. That's true.
I trust you probably make a different choice. I mean, I'm very big into my health, and it's very much around the foundation of everything I do, but I still like to enjoy food, which you alluded to earlier. So it's not that I just restrict myself. I still treat myself. It's just, again, you said it before, it's about habits and discipline that allow me to maintain that level of health and that level of fitness. And I'm guessing it's not too dissimilar for you too.
Yeah, and that is so true, that it is all about discipline. I mean, a lot of people, they don't realize that. I mean, everybody has some kind of routine, and whether it's a good or bad, but everybody follows pretty much something they are already on, and sometimes it's not even kind of haphazard routine, but they have followed. So all they have to do is tweak a little bit out of that and just get your direction correct. That's all they have to do. So if they know where they're going, where they are and where they want to go, then just remain focused on that, and then the rest will follow. Your mind is very smart. It figures out how to do that. And then that your direction, you have to be very clear in your mind what you want to do. So that's to me is, so I always tell them, you need to know where north, south, east, west is, and you need to remain focused on that, and then you will find a way. It takes time. Of course, it took me 1 year, to lose 100 pounds. Didn't happen overnight, and but I was patient. I mean, there were days where you feel sad, but that's 1 year is a long time, right?
Yeah, and I think that's important what you're saying as well, because we're talking about creating results here, creating lifestyle change, creating something new that doesn't exist right now. And there is this common misconception that it is going to happen overnight. And the other misconception is that people don't have bad days or don't have days where they struggle, because we live in a world today where everyone has a show reel. It's the best pictures. It's only show people the good things. And people falsely start to believe that business, life, fitness, whatever it is should be easy. Mm-hmm. But we all have bad days. But the difference between someone like yourself who's created those results and myself and my clients is that they're able to bounce back quickly. They don't stay in that place. They're able to shift and actually move forward. Or if they are having a bad day, they have a good bad day. They do it really well. I'm really going to have a bad day and I'm going to make the most of it rather than dwell there and try and change things all the time.
Oh, okay. Yes. And thank you for bringing that and, showing people, what you do. And I can tell that you are very experienced about what you do. And I really liked it. So you could share, live experience of somebody's coaching.
Yeah.
So kudos to you. That's amazing work you do. So also tell me a little bit some of the things where people can benefit from your services. Do you have website, I assume, right?
Yeah, so if you want to find out, I put together a free little exercise you can complete because the motivational maps is a paid option. So I want to give you an insight into this so you can gain more understanding. So if you go to jwilliamscoaching.com/values.
Okay, let me add that and people can watch it.
jwilliamscoaching.com/values.
Okay, /values. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll be able to download an exercise so they can complete values. I'll give you another URL where they can go and find out about motivational maps.
Okay, well, let me share this 1 second. So we're gonna share this one. Discover your values. Is that the one?
Yeah. So this one talks all about motivational maps. Okay. Yeah, I need to link in the other page, but if they go here, they'll be able to find out all about motivational maps. And what I will do is I'll give you a discount code here where you can get £47 off. Mm-hmm. So if you did want to complete a map, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. You can see it's £147 normally there. Mm-hmm. If they type at the checkout Mobi, so MOBI, 47, that will give them £47 off.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. So I'll put that. So they should go to this website, J. Williams values, and type Mobi, and that will get.
Yeah, at the checkout, they'll get.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you for doing that, and I will make sure people can check that. And you say you have another URL too.
Yeah, if you just send them to this one for now, this is where, because this is display motivational maps, they still need to link the other page up. So if they go to that URL, they'll be able to find out, they'll be able to look all about me anyway and find out more about what I do. And if they want to get coaching of any kind, then they can find out about that there as well.
Okay, well, that's very fascinating. And I think you do amazing work. So keep up that and keep motivating people. And any final message would you like to share?
Yeah, I'd say probably the last thing I'd say is that there's a whole other world out there. And quite often we see our lives through one lens. And that's often the lens that we've been trained and taught growing up. And the truth is, it doesn't have to be that way. You can have it all. You can have the fulfillment, the aliveness, the success, the excitement that you really want in your life. And it's really, and it sounds kind of cliche, it's on the other side of your comfort zone. But with the right guidance, whether it be me or Dr. Mobi or somebody else, then you can really have it all.
That is true. That's so true. Well, thank you for coming to our show. It was pleasure learning and learning more and more. People can go to the website. Please check him out. And amazing guest and amazing performance. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you very much.